Good. January 16th, it's about 6:02 p.m. Let's everybody stand, please, with the pledge. Anna, you want to start?
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everybody, please remain standing, and I'll have Lisa with the chamber. Will you lead us in prayer, please?
I sure will. Dear Heavenly Father, we gather as a community just in your name so that we can come together, make good decisions going forward for the people in Nelson County. Please bless our magistrates, our judge, all of our emergency officials that have been out on the roads during this cold weather, and please keep everybody safe. In your name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Amen. I'll have a community showcase tonight. I'll have the Lisa and Hannah with the Chamber of Commerce. Y'all want to come up
We sure will.
and just talk about what you do and what you can do and want to do? Give us a little overview, please.
Well, first, I want to thank you all for having us to give us the opportunity to talk about the chamber. I don't normally chew gum when I speak, but I've had this cough, so I just want to apologize. The chamber is a nonprofit organization. We have been in existence now, technically 101 years. So last year was our 100th year. We are the largest business organization, and as a nonprofit, we are membership based. So local businesses will join the chamber, they'll pay a chamber membership fee, and these are businesses that have a local interest in our community. And so what our mission is to support business, support our economy. We've been doing that for 100 years. We do that by providing networking, professional development classes. We partner with ECTC. We do 4 classes a year that is free to our employers and chamber members. We promote businesses through our website and our printed directory, which Hannah and Tania are working on currently. We have programs such as Young Professionals, that is 21 to 40. We have a Young Leaders program, which has been in existence for over 30 years. Adam Wheatley here has been a part of that since the very beginning, hosting Agriculture Day, and that is all 4 high schools here locally. We pull them together and we take them out in the community and let them meet leaders, show them how community works. We also just partnered with Junior Achievement. We did the High School to Heroes with Nelson County High School. They were able to take what they learned about entrepreneurship and leadership, and we went to Bloomfield Elementary. This was last week. Was it last week that we went? First week of January?
Yeah.
And we went to Bloomfield Elementary, and they did classes on entrepreneurship. Hannah and I got to go in and do ribbon cuttings with all of the students at Bloomfield Elementary, which was really fun.
What grade level was that?
It was kindergarten through 5th.
Yeah.
But the High School to Heroes is all high school students. They are the Future Business Leaders of America group.
That little kindergarten group, part of those are going to be up here next week.
Oh,
Same
good.
group, yeah.
Good.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
It was so much fun. It really
Yeah.
was. They got really excited about the big scissors. We do different events. We have our annual awards dinner. We have our golf outing. We have our chamber chase, which is kind of like a scavenger hunt. We had 80 players last year. And when we did the economic impact, those teams spent $6,000 in 10 days at our local businesses. So that's how we're helping promote local business. We have our connects, which are free networking every month. Those are different businesses every month. We partnered this year on a couple of events. Our homecoming event with Model Kentucky Home, there were about 800 people there, and that was very family friendly. We partner with Main Street for Cheers to Bardstown. And 3 years ago, we brought the ice skating rink during Christmas time. And this year we gave out 200 shopping bags and promoted shopping local. We also, this is our second year piloting the National Civics Bee, and that is a pilot program with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce for middle schoolers, which the deadline is January 22nd. So if you have a middle schooler, please, they can write an essay. All 20 finalists will win a tablet, and they'll be invited to a live competition. So we're really pushing that right now. But we have an open door policy. You're welcome to join us. We're downstairs, first floor at the chamber, and we welcome all businesses to join. We also have an individual member fee if you just want to be involved in the community.
You never did really introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm Lisa Thomas, the executive director, and
I'm Hannah Beans, operations and finance coordinator.
and Elliot Nealon, Tania Calvert. They're both chamber employees, and you can find us downstairs.
They do a great job. They were up here last month. I don't know who was here for last month, 2 weeks ago.
Last
I
month.
Last
thought they'd
month.
come and give us some more information so the community knows about what you do. Most people don't. A lot of people don't.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
I could take up the whole fiscal court meeting telling you all the things that we do.
We're not
But,
that very good.
you're on a time crunch here, so if you're really more interested, please contact us. You can come visit us, have a seat on our couch. We'll give you snacks. We'll tell you all about what we do.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Still the approval of the minutes. Everybody got those? See any issues with those?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second. Motion from Adam and second by Jeff. Any more discussion? All opposed? All approved? All opposed, I'm sorry. Motion passes. We have the bills and transfers. Rhonda added some more, but she put some more in the box. If you'll get all those. The big thing was she added to John and Haley landfill. The next draw is about $1 million. $990,476.
Is that close to being done?
Close. So we got everything where the actual landfill is. That's complete. We got final approval last week. We just had a few other things to wrap up. We're staying sewer outside the cell. I said on pond and we checked it. That's what we needed to get done, push garbage in. Everything else is, we're gonna push back to the spring or whatever breaks.
Looks like we still got, we're gonna have about, if I read it right, there's about another 600,000 left to pay on those.
But yes,
And it'll be, paid, we didn't have no debt. We was talking about having to bond that out at first for about $1 million, or maybe $2 million, so. Looks like we're gonna have enough cash flow to pay it in full, so we will not have to borrow the money, so. That's good news.
How long is it projected to last, Tom?
so 6.7 acres and roughly an acre a year. So roughly 6 years. So just to make sure we get the next phase building in time, start in about 4 years. 5
years.
Yeah.
We use
About an
that.
acre a year, about $1 million an acre, give or take. Probably up to that. So. Depends on how it ties in with existing too. But probably in 5 years, roughly, we'll have to start on the next phase.
Make a motion to pay the transfer.
A motion from John, to pay the bills, additional bills and transfer. Second by MT. Any more discussion?
Yeah. On enforcement on the bills. Is that the, one that was, we're going to do for the next year? Or is that on this year's budget? Oh, random,
That's not in here. You're talking about in different of these bills?
it's on the budget line. I transfer that, you know, money.
That's not the vehicles that we'll discuss
All right,
later.
this is already
These are
budgeted.
vehicles we purchased previously.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's it.
This is the one that's been about a year later,
Yeah.
a year behind. That's not the ones coming up.
Right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thought maybe you tried to slip one in on me there. Yeah. Didn't give us for a loop. I'm gonna go to, Brad Metcalf, I'm gonna, part of your report here, I've got Lance Blanford and Miss Blanford and, is Betty here? Betty, and, who else? Treasurer here?
She's not here yet. She's on her way.
She is on her way?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna hold up it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, dude?
Yeah.
Public comment, I'll just go back to that. Do have some public comment names on here. Don Howard. Ashley Mauser. Betty Hart, and Larry Lawson. Oh, any of these related, all these related to the same subject? Are any of these related to the same subject?
Yes.
Betty?
Oh, I'm just with Lance and Brad.
So Don and Ashley and Larry, all y'all's related to the same subject?
Yes.
Okay. They had, you passed out these, this pamphlet. Did all the citizens get one too? Did y'all have enough to pass out everybody?
I know.
If anybody else want them or not. I won't get into the guts of this here at my level because there will be a public hearing on this at some point. But if you want to talk as a group, y'all want to talk as a group or individuals?
I think if you don't mind, I think we'd rather talk individually, because I think we all have three different topics along the same general.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, Mr. Howard, you can come up to the front here, please.
So please forgive me, I'm not used to doing this kind of thing in front of elected officials or any other place. But anyway, my concern is, I just found out about a week ago, trying to get the planning and zoning about this new anaerobic waste treatment plant that's going on. Kind of got to run around a little bit from planning and zoning. My first question, of course, who does planning and zoning report to? Do they report to you guys? Do they report to their own entity? Because I would just thinking off the top of my head, I would think planning and zoning would report to you guys in some respect, so that you know what's going on in the county and how that affects the neighbors and the general community as a whole. But
I'll go ahead and answer that one question. I'm not going to get into a lot of details. There will be a public hearing about this specific
which has been
application, but planning and zoning by statute, if you look it up, KRS 100, everybody's heard it thousands of times. The planning commission is a separate body appointed by the city and the county, in this case, in Bloomfield, Fairfield, New Lake. It's a joint city, county, planning and zoning. Been in place since 72, I think, 1972. So that's basically, then they got a board of adjustments, which is under KRS 100 also. You got a city board of adjustments, you got a county board of adjustments. Initial use permits are applied either through the planning and zoning when they have their zoning, and in the majority of cases, they go through the board of adjustments. And there's a little bit that I know of, I'm not gonna get into the weeds of it, but when you have a planning and zoning issue, it goes to planning and zoning, and then it comes back to the fiscal court for final approval if either party ask us to vote.
so you're
The Board
pretty
of
much,
Adjustments, they have their hearings. It never comes before the fiscal court by statute. It goes, if there's either side wants to bill, it goes through the circuit court. That's what the process is today. We are looking at changing a bunch of rules and regulations and simplifying all that.
at this point, planning and zoning really doesn't report to you guys in any way. They can pretty much bypass unless some of you here.
No, not on the planning, not just on the Board of Adjustment side.
Board of Adjustment side.
Yeah, there's almost two different.
And that's per KRS 100 if you read.
Yeah.
The
state law.
Okay.
If you get planning and zoning, you have to follow KRS 100.
Is that the same with all counties?
Exactly.
Okay.
There's only 38 counties out of the 120 that's got planning and zoning.
Oh, all right. So you would have no clue as to who's gonna replace Jan Johnson that's in planning and zoning right now. That's all internal to them, I guess.
And that's something we're looking into now. We got a hiring committee and all that stuff, yes.
All right. Well, just so you guys are aware, they're planning on, at least I just found out, that this anaerobic, waste treatment plant is getting ready to go in over here on, Spencer Mattingly, which is right next to Dean Watts Park. I thought Dean Watts Park was kind of the jewel for Bardstown, is for places for kids to go to. Since we no longer have a theater here, we no longer have a bowling alley, but it is a place where all the kids go for their soccer. They go there for their baseball, their soccer, football tournaments, that kind of thing. And this is going to be right next to this waste treatment plant, which I have no problem with the waste treatment plant going in. I just have a problem it going in the middle of the city next to where our children are playing, my grandkids and everything else. I mean, I get it. They tell me it's 100% safe. I worked for UPS for 21 years. We had computers. We could never get 100% uptime on those. You can't tell me that there can't be a problem somewhere down the road, whether it be a lightning strike or truck crash, anything. Spencer Mattingly is not that wide of a road. They're looking to put in 150 trucks going through that road every day, as it is right now. You know, and this could all change in the future. It could be 200, 300 trucks. I don't know if this is just for Nelson County, just for the distilleries here in this town, or could it go out to Bullitt County where Jim Beam's out there, or maybe Springfield. You know, how much is this going to grow? This seems to be getting changed around quite a bit. So these are my concerns, and I just want to know, you know, and I'm not expecting any answers tonight, but I just want to make people aware of what's going on.
Well,
So,
thank you, sir.
Is that in the city or is that in the county?
well, currently it's in the county.
That
It's
portion
just-
of it's in the county. Part of it's in the city and part of that road, Spencer
But if
Mountain.
it goes
Yeah, but I'm
toward,
talking about where he's talking about.
That part is in the county.
yeah, but if it trends like everything else, as soon as, if that place comes in and they get sewer, the
Yep,
city will annex them.
yep.
Because you have to sign a
pledge,
agreement,
just
a
like
pledge,
this,
not
try
to,
to go
not to
in over
contest, and then they're gonna want the occupational document with jobs.
Yep, that's exactly what's gonna happen. It's the county today, but as soon as they get in, they'll see that tax revenue and they'll go after it.
Don, mentioned about the city of Louisville.
The city of Louisville had the same plant. They tried to go in there. City of Louisville, it got voted down after the city found out that it was coming in. It was voted down 17-0. In fact, they changed the law where you cannot build one of these plants within a mile of any residential home. This same plant or one like this tried to go in over here by Flowers Bakery, but Flowers said there would be so much smells and it would be such a nuisance to the area that it got X'd. It got, you know,
The city council voted it down?
as far as I know, it was the city council, yes.
Yes.
I don't know that 100%. It was, okay.
Well, let me go to the next. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Thank you for your information. Let's go to Ashley. Ashley, you want to come up and speak? Ashley.
Good evening, everyone.
Ashley.
How's it going? Thank you all for just giving me a few minutes of time. I won't try to touch on some of the points that Dawn already addressed, but did want to give you all a little bit of backstory because I guess it was probably in the fall of 2022, we, the Tullamore residents were called to a planning and zoning meeting, and it was regarding the change from light industrial to heavy industrial for the said property that we're discussing. We were presented with a really thorough, detailed plan that outlined the property owner at that time, Mango, what they plan to do with the property. You know, we were very much opposed to changing that from a light industrial to heavy industrial because we know that is a big zoning change. We were given beautiful pictures of what this would look like. Trees being planted. It's going to be mostly office buildings. We're going to store some asphalt. So we need to, you know, change this level of zoning. So they sold all of us on what this was proposed. Okay. And given I'm a citizen, I'm not well versed in planning and zoning. You rely on elected officials to help navigate that. We just, as Dawn said, we found out later that whole plan is off the table, that we are looking at a completely different plan. And we really feel like it's the detriment to our community to bring in this said anaerobic digester next to a park. I'm a runner. If y'all see me, I run through Dean Watts about every weekend. I love seeing the kids out there playing. It's just, as you mentioned, it's just a gym, and we're very concerned about what potential this new facility could bring. Obviously, the technology is amazing. We know that there has to be a solution for waste that are coming off distilleries, but we just really, really hope that we will get the board's, the court support for where's the best spot for this and how can we find a compromise? Can this be in an industrial park? Can this be in an area? We live in Tullamore, and we were one of the first homes that were out there. We have, a beautiful creek that runs through. There's actually trails that go to Dean Watts Park. We love that place out there, and we are very worried about devaluing our property by having an anaerobic digester, in the area. These, even though we know the technology may be good, this is not something that if you're looking to build a home or to buy a home that you're going to want in your vicinity. I'm very concerned about odor, smells. We've seen this happen with just being, we go to the country club, Monkey Home, and you can be down there, the smell from some of the distilleries. We're worried about that. That's something Edgewood is dealing with right now. We do not want this same thing to be happening on the other side of town. So I don't want to talk too long, but just wanted to also state that we're very confused about how the process works. We were originally told it would be planning and zoning on January 23rd, and then we were told that the application was pulled and that it would go to the Board of Adjustments. And so I would also like some clarity on how things, which things go to which board. And now I'm taking off work on February 8th to be there. It switched from an evening meeting to a daytime meeting, and we just don't really understand. And we haven't really been able to get great answers to questions when we reach out to the planning and zoning directly.
You haven't been able to get answers from that office?
No.
Who have you spoken to?
I have not spoken directly, but several members have reached out to the lady that's retiring.
Shannon.
Yeah, and we've gotten a lot of answers. I'm retiring. It's just been very difficult and I also just want to understand, how do we get, when we first went up there and got information, they gave us the date. I posted it on our community neighborhood, site as we're going to be meeting at this date. We get more information the next day that no, it's actually been pulled, and it's going to a different group now. I do feel like there's a strong conflict of interest because we have one of the planning and zoning, members that is selling this property. And so there is I feel like a potential conflict because when you change, we were sold on the pitch that this is Mago and this is going to be light industrial change to heavy industrial with this plan. Now I imagine that property value has increased exponentially. And I feel like that is a true conflict. And I feel like that our community is at risk. And I feel like this is something that we need, you guys to take a hard look at. And our process is being run the right way. Are we doing things properly? Because I do really feel like it's not just the neighbors of Tullamore and the folks out in Woodlawn, but it's ultimately our children too. This is a really big decision for the county. And I just hope that you guys will pursue this to the fullest extent and help to make sure that if this is coming to Nelson County, that it's done in the right way.
And one thing I will tell you is the public hearing process. If you went to that other one, I guess y'all did it before, I wasn't here then. But, the public will have a opportunity to get up and, both sides, explain it in detail. We can't explain it or get in detail here about this because it's just an application like everybody else's that's come through, And I don't even know a lot of details about it myself as far as that goes. So. All right, thank you for your time.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I agree with Ashley. I mean, they were sold on one thing, and then, like I said, they just pulled the rug out from underneath of them. And, I don't know, I'm looking into the future. How can we stop that? Because it's kind of like what she said, had an inside, I feel like she does, an inside information on the planning and zoning and sold them on the pictures and then boom, it's not there. So.
Well, as I understand it, and I do not understand it because I haven't researched it, but
That nothing has been approved yet. That's what the Board of Adjustments is for, as I understand it, right?
No, it's been approved through planning and zoning,
Yeah.
but it's gotta go through planning. Yeah.
They've got it, they changed the zoning. Before.
Right.
It was back in about 2022 from, I guess it was LIP to I2.
Which is the proper zoning for the anaerobic digester, the way I
But have
understand it.
they approved the application for that particular plant, is what I'm saying.
Well, they got the zoning for it, so.
You gotta have a conditional use permit to go along with that. And,
Right.
they got an I2
That's
zone.
what the Board of Adjustments is for, correct?
That's what the Board of Adjustments should be real clear, and I'm not no professional in this, but zoning, if you try to get a piece of land zoned and somebody gets it zoned, that stays with that forever. It goes, it goes with the deed, that zoning stays with that property.
Not forever. You can get it rezoned.
Unless you get it
You
rezoned.
can get it rezoned, but I'm saying you can't remove that zoning. So if I sell it to you, you might get it
Right.
zoned to something else. A conditional use permit, without the zoning, somebody sells that property, the conditional use permit goes away. So it's pretty confusing to most, even, I've been around a long time, it's still very confusing to understand it though. I've got, Larry Lawson,
Ashley and Don said mostly, I want to say.
okay,
Okay.
and, sir, beside you there, I've got your,
Me, I didn't sign in.
I know, but I got your number, I think,
Yeah, well, I'm disseminating information, but,
I'm still gonna
I
call you.
have to keep a low profile. There's a lot of, arts and, or arrows and slings and darts out there that can come.
But you sent me your number, I got your number.
That's a number where you can reach me personally.
I got, yeah, I was gonna tell you, I just ain't got back to you, I've been,
Yeah,
list about this long so far.
yeah. Well, I just don't want to disappear in the middle of the night, so I got to keep a low profile.
Okay, you ought to try being up here, we're easy.
Okay, Betty, you wanna talk about this other subject when it comes up?
I'll wait and let Brad take the lead on that.
Is treasurer here yet?
She is not. She said she tried to get in the door downstairs and it was locked.
Wrong door.
Wrong door.
No, they are.
Well, that's fine. We can go on without her. No, she's not.
Is she coming?
No. She said she thought that she was late, so. Yeah.
That's it. Betty, you wanna come on up here and, see? What, I put them on there, we have these, we've got the career center down there that I think most people understand. Probably don't understand the full complexity of it, we have a lot of different offices there. We started, it actually started under Nikki Raker, and I guess there's Keith and Jeff was here, and then we've expanded it, and Lance and Betty's been very involved in that, and Treasurer Davidson is very involved in it, and so there's some grants coming up, and Brad Metcalf, and then Betty with the city council also, we're trying to secure these grants and make sure we do it properly, and make sure we try to go after the biggest bang for our buck, so they want to come in tonight and explain in some detail about, briefly about what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I think you probably best understand it if you go back a little bit. 2017, we had a career center here in Nelson County, and it was as part of the regionalization effort, which you all hear a lot about with the driver's license IDs and stuff. But they did the same thing with the career center, and they moved it to E-Town. And so we lost those services here until last year. I serve on the Lincoln Trail Workforce Development Board, and so for the last maybe 2-3 years, I've been trying to get that career center back here because we all know that if someone's struggling to find a job or needs additional resources, that the career center offers, which is GED education, access to technology, training and other services, like if they want to upskill, if they're in a job, let's say if they're in the distillery job or an advanced manufacturing facility and they want to learn a new skill within that facility, the career center offers those services as well. And so
it's difficult for those people that want to access that, you know, especially if they don't have a job, to be able to go to Hardin County to get those resources. And even if they do and they have a family, it's just making the time to go over there to get those services is difficult. And so fortunately, we were able last year to get the Career Center back open. I want to thank Judge publicly for his efforts in that, and Interim Judge Rapier. He helped us take that. The building had kind of over the years, you know, been a little bit run down. Maybe run down is not the word, but it just needed some upgrading. And we were able to go in there and with some paint, some ceiling tiles and lights and things of that nature. If you go in there now, you'll hardly recognize it. When we went to go get the center reopened, we knew that we felt like we couldn't reopen it with the same operation as it was previously, because we're dealing with such a different socioeconomic barriers. And so what we did is, in order to most efficiently address all of the issues that are impacting our workforce, and just so you know this, about 40% of Nelson County's workforce is not in the workforce, or working age population is not in the workforce. So that means only 60% is working, and that's on par with about what the state is. They're about 60-40 as well. So we're not in any worse position, but still, when you look at that number, 40% is pretty alarming. So you look at that 40%, you start to break it down. Well, the primary barriers of that are mental health, substance abuse, lack of education, generational poverty, transportation, and housing. Those are pretty much main barriers. And so what we did is we looked at those and said, okay, what are the organizations in the community that are already doing a lot of this work? Let's try to get them together under one roof, and then add the Career Center services in there with them. And then so when someone walks in there, they can easily access all resources. And instead of having to go over here and go over there, it's just more efficient for them to do that. And so without, you know, creating additional organizations or adding additional money, we were just able to take vocational rehab, Career Center, Elizabethtown Community and Technical College, Nail Care, Bethany Haven, what am I missing? United for Recovery, and they're all under one roof right now. And the model is already working, but we want to expand it to where the case management part is a little bit more effective, meaning that if an individual comes in there and they have multiple needs, that all providers within that area understand that person's needs and then can communicate and work collaboratively to get that person into the workforce. That's the ultimate goal, is to get them a job, stable, and in a house, so that they can be a contributing member to the society, and do it with as little additional resources as possible, and because we already have a lot of resources. So anyways, as Judge was mentioning, there is the opportunity. When we're looking at grants, we're like, what is the most, I guess the lowest hanging fruit that applies to this? And it's the opioid abatement money. And so if we look at that, and organizations, nonprofit organizations can apply for that. Can for-profit can too? Okay. So organizations can apply for that funding. There's been organizations that get a lot of money, and that money is set aside. Obviously, you all know about that, to address the opioid issue and the after effects of it. And so what we are hoping to do is to create a study, have a study completed of the county and how it is dealing with that, the opioid issue, and utilize that study to put into our grant proposal as we work with the Lincoln Trail grant writer, and try to get as much money as possible to help fund this, because ultimately substance abuse is one of the primary barriers. But by addressing that piece, we can also help all the other pieces, such as, like I said, housing and getting them additional education and things of that nature. I hate the treasurer can't be here today, because she just was telling me on the phone earlier today. She said we had a 19-year-old, treasurer is the executive director of Bethany Haven. She said we had a 19-year-old come in here and was looking for housing, and we were able to get her housing, and we sent her over. She's now got her GED. ECTC has already talked to her. She's going to work to try to get an associate's degree in something, and then the Career Center is also implementing the services to get her into the workforce and get a job. So the model is already working. We just need to be a little bit more efficient, and we need some resources to make that system run. one of the things is like a computer database where everyone can communicate and make sure that individual's case plan is moving forward. We can do this with very little investment, and with that opioid grant money, it takes a long way. So for you all to consider tonight is a study by Thomas P. Miller and Associates, and that study it covers quite a bit. Total cost on that is $7,500. I don't want to speak on behalf of the city council, but I think that the city council is hoping to fund half of that, and so we're hoping fiscal court will cover half of that as well. I heard the dog.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, it was like right on cue. So, yeah. Olivia, can you come up here real quick? So, Olivia, come on up. She is a social worker with the city police, and she has commented on the model and how she thinks how she's going to be able to utilize this as well. And this is Maverick. Anyways, that's what we're asking. We're asking for half of the $7,500 for you all to cover it, and then that will put us in a much better position to apply for that opioid grant and get as much as possible. We feel like if there's another third party that comes in and is supplying us with all this data, and it's not just Nessa County and Washington City saying, hey, we need this. It's someone else that's done an independent study that says that we need it. And so we think that the investment, it's just that it's an investment for a better ROI.
To add on to what Lance was saying, one of the things that we're trying to do is we're trying to leverage this study to help get us in a better position to be in a better position to get the grant money. Instead of just us doing this internally and saying, like Lance said, just us doing this, if a third party has looked at it, looked at the financial stability of the plan and the feasibility of what we're attempting to do, that will put us in a much higher stratosphere to try to get these grants, because they're very, very competitive. There's a lot of money out there. I think the highest was $1 million given out to Operation Unite. We're not shooting for that, but this is going to be $100,000 plus kind of investment. The $3,750, which would be our half, we're asking for that to come out of our current opioid settlement funds, which we already have. So it won't be coming out of the general
Does
fund.
that meet all the criteria?
It does.
There's a whole lot of restrictions to that.
Yes, that's correct. As long as we're using it in advancement to try to, suppress opioids or addiction, anything like that, that's approved. The caseworker strategy is to try to get them assigned and get it all into one place. So when they come in, the studies show that when they're in a place, if we can get all the different
Wraparound services.
wraparound services that they need while they're there, you have a much better chance while they're there. If they have to go home and come back, you tend to lose it. They tend to not come back.
Transportation, family, kids, and so on.
Very much so.
I like the dog, that's what I like.
Olivia's.
Yes, sir.
Have you seen the data from this company to other, that they provided other counties?
Yes,
Services?
We've utilized those that's how I knew to go to them, because we've utilized that organization through the Control Workforce Development Board, and they've done really good work. They're good. And you can see in the proposal what all that they're going to cover, but they're pretty thorough, and they already have a good understanding of this region already because of those other studies that they've done.
So what does TPMA stand for?
Thomas P. Miller and Associates.
We're not asking for action tonight. This is just to get it out so that we can begin the conversation about it. We're not under a time crunch. This will run until midsummer, but we're going to take the time to put together a good grant application, because this is pretty significant.
When is the grant due?
It is due July 1st.
And it is just a one-time grant?
Yes. Well, it can be a recurring grant, but this would be a one-time one.
Plan for the recurring grants. Can I use this? I'm going to spend $7,500 to get $100,000.
I think it's.
Do I need to spend?
Well, we wouldn't need to do it again. We wouldn't need to do that. We wouldn't need to do that again.
I didn't know if you.
Yeah, I don't think, not only,
present.
you wouldn't have to do it again, but also too, if we got it up, then we would have more and more data to provide that would actually, hopefully, would benefit, an additional grant
You know what I'm saying? We would have the data of it operating already to put in.
We can show the success year over year if we apply.
So you all will be tracking that data.
Oh, absolutely.
Doing those
Yeah,
things, yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, we're already tracking.
But our share of the opioid money, we are divvying that up. Do we, I mean, would it hurt? We're offering it on contingent that the grant gets approved, correct? Or is it doing to do the research
This
to
would be
get that?
prior.
This would be prior.
This opioid money, we've got, Rhonda was, we got opioid money, what's the next account? It's,
Yeah.
how much is- yeah, and we use that for, special detectives and all that stuff, so there's money there to pay for the,
Well, we
study.
use that, to give you an example, we use that to buy the narcotic safe for the ambulances too.
And then when that money's there available for these types of things, and then the second piece of that is if we get the grant awarded to us, we pretty much want to go big or go home. Last year, we didn't do it because we didn't feel like we had, our laying all our eggs in one basket, so we decided to go forward, trying to doing it. I guess we'll do this as a joint with the city.
That's right, plan.
The grant application will be a joint venture, and then, of course, the other side of it likes that. They like it when you do joint ventures, regional, and all that stuff, so.
Well, you know, the center will benefit city and county residents. It won't just be strictly city or county.
So has the city already approved it?
No, I just sent it to the mayor this morning. He was traveling, so I've not had a chance to talk to him. We did ask Olivia to come with us. Olivia's salary is funded by the opioid grant, part of the funds that the city got. So we wanted her to kind of share what she does and some of her success stories as pretty much a caseworker, somewhat.
To an extent, lots of different hats, but what everybody was talking about wraparound services, for those who don't know what wraparound services are, it's everything that's under one roof. And so somebody who doesn't have transportation, somebody who doesn't have social supports, or somebody who has low barrier housing situations, or if they have low income, or if they are only able to get themselves out of bed due to substance use disorder or due to a mental illness for that one day, that might be their only opportunity to get all of those services in one day. So that's one really prevalent part of this study, is to show how many people need it and how many people could utilize it. And so wraparound services are really crucial. I saw it work in Louisville with St. Vincent de Paul as well as Wellspring. We would serve and house those who had substance use disorder, serious mental illness, or the acronym SMI. And we accepted anybody who needed or wanted the help. And we did that by providing crisis stabilization units, housing resources, connecting them to case management. And to Betty and Lance's point, and to Brad's point, what a case manager does is they would track each and every goal that that person has. So if that person's goal is housing, perfect. Step 1, housing application. Step 2, how are we going to pay for housing application? Step 3, so on and so forth. You all get the picture. And so a case manager is really, really crucial to tracking data and then reconfiguring the data to see what was missed. And so this is an opportunity for funds to be spent to see what has been missed. So who has shuffled through the cracks of the system, who has been missed, and what services do we not think about that need to be implemented into a new plan. And some of the things that I've done with the department as well as with the sheriff's office is we have been able to get several people into recovery, either treatment, or they are now in transitional housing based in recovery. And so for those who don't know what recovery is, it's somebody who is working on maintaining their sobriety, either from alcohol, drugs, or any sort of addiction. And we have been able to help over 40 individuals since September 25th, either get access to recovery resources or be connected to resources here in the county. And others have gone throughout the state, Louisa, Elizabethtown, Taylorsville, Lexington, and Louisville. And we've also been able to provide housing for 65 persons so far. Myself partnering with Bethany Haven and all of our local resources here. Either they have been transitioned to Bethany Haven, Harper House, or facilities in Lexington and Louisville. And that is because of the opioid grant.
These 65 people, is that in September also?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you said 40 on the other one?
For recovery.
So it's about 8 people a week, a month. It's about 5 months ago, September was. So
You
only have
are
8
much
people?
better than math than I am, sir, so I'll take the word for it.
Yeah, but you only have 5 to 8 people a month that come in? Is that,
No, not at the career center. I can get you the date
No.
on it.
that's about a year and a half old, correct?
No,
How-
since it was reopened?
Yeah.
No, only
About
September.
months maybe.
We started in about March as far as getting leases and everything.
Yeah, but as far as like when our grand opening was September.
Yeah, that's right, it was in the fall.
Mhm.
But Olivia's position deals with people through the police departments. It wouldn't be somebody that has an addiction problem that has not been arrested.
Yeah, but when Jeff and I was on court when Rector was judge, that's a year and a half ago. What happened?
It took us that long to get the building up and get the services all like coordinated to get in there. And then finally we were able to open in September. So like I said, we worked on this for a while.
So how many people you have a day come down?
I would have to pull the numbers, but, and they get monthly reports. I mean, obviously you can do the math on it, but, I mean, we're in the hundreds.
Per month.
And we feel like all the other wraparound services that have offices there, once we get this all together, will feed the career center and they'll feed us.
And that's another, great point. So Olivia, for example, would be a referral source. Schools working with families would be a referral source. Medical providers would be a referral source. The court system would potentially be a referral source. And so they would refer out to us, and then having that single person as a case manager would be who they communicate with, and then they create the case plan and then make sure that that individual gets the services that they need. That's the idea. There's going to be multiple, like we've actually, just because of how new we are, we haven't really went after referral sources as hard as what we would really like to. But if we are able to get this, then mental health providers,
Well, one
Yeah.
thing that we left out too is that we want to incorporate and bring in the court system as well. Talk with our judges, talk with the drug courts. Those are referral sources that we can use to augment the ones that just come in off the street or through other agencies.
absolutely.
I think I've met some of you all, but my name's Rachel Blankford. I'm a licensed clinical social worker here in Bardstown. We have a mental health facility called Lemonade Mental Health Services. Just to kind of go with that, we case management wraparound services is the gold standard. When you're working with people who have barriers like that, with substance use, housing, all of those things, it's already difficult to get them motivated to reach out and to access those services. So that case management really takes that to the next level. So you can have these services and that's great and you can offer them, but that case manager really holds that person's hand and kind of takes them to those services. So it's a really good model because it allows for that consistency in services, consistency in communication. We actually are, we feel so strongly about it. We're adding this to our own practice as far as the case management piece because we need these services. I need somebody if we have clients that are seeking mental health services, I need somebody that can take them and show them that this place exists. So it's just a really good model to have. And like I said, really the gold standard, if you're trying to get efficacy from your services that you're offering to the community members that need these services, this is really the way to get that efficacy.
And I think, great point. And I think the ultimate thing here is to think about it through a couple of different lenses, but that we've already addressed. But going back to one, looking at that workforce participation rate, 40%, and when you break it down, I mean, I think everybody can agree that it's pretty obvious that those barriers that I already mentioned are the primary ones. We already have the services offered by organizations in this community. I am not one to want to duplicate services at all, but we are trying to figure out a way to make those organizations as efficient as possible and get the most bang for their buck so they're not doing the same thing as this other organization over here. And you can only do that if they're effectively communicating and collaborating together. And if they're under one roof, it makes it a lot easier to do that. I mean, we're already seeing the benefit of that. And so if you look at it from a financial standpoint, we're now operating, I would argue, more efficiently than we ever have because we are not using the same dollars to offer the same services. It's, oh, you have that for that client? All right, I don't need to intervene here, then I can work on this. And so, because there is some crossover amongst what like different organizations do, but, just looking at it from a financial standpoint, we're now operating, in my opinion, more efficiently than we ever have been. What this will do would allow us to get the data, develop a strong plan, and then figure out if it's worth it from that point forward, which I feel like it is, to implement a case manager and some sort of other system, probably a technology system that allows for more streamlined communication to get those individuals the case plan and make sure that we get them moving forward. And again, I mean, the 3750 to me, getting the information, and we've got some information, but getting the information is worth $3,750. Having that study and understanding it and having a clear picture of where we are in relation to this issue is worth $3,700 to me.
Well, who's paying for the housing that you provided the other day? To the person, you said you provided some housing. Who's paying for it?
It was transitional housing facilities. So it's not city money, it's not Bardstown money, it's not Nelson County money. It is actual nonprofits that have grant money from either HUD, Housing and Urban Development, or other federal entities that supply transitional housing resources for people.
So
and
if
that's
I
who
came in,
funds it.
so if I came in and applied and did all this, and you put me up in housing, how long can I stay in that house? Or do I have to meet certain criteria
It
to stay
depends.
in that house?
It depends. So a lot of them are
Could
different.
go on a year.
It depends. So some of them, I've seen a lot of recovery places due to the insurance. A lot of people in recovery and who are trying to get sober only can stay in 30 days. Some places for transitional housing, so it's a step from either recovery or homelessness to stable, secure housing or permanent housing. So that can range from 6 months. It can range to a year. Sometimes it can range to 2 years. Sometimes it's only 30 days. It just depends on what the program is designed to do. A place in Louisville and Lexington, they operate under rapid rehousing. And so that tries to get people into apartments and transitional housing facilities quicker. So it just depends on the organization.
But that time is extended if they don't have access to efficient resources.
Well, suppose I didn't do nothing. I didn't meet all the criteria. I was just taking up the free housing.
Well, that's part of what the case manager would do, is that the case manager is going to be monitoring your progress within that transitional housing, and they're going to be reporting back and kind of motivating you like, hey, we need to get this, we need to go over here and apply for this job, we need to apply for the GED program, or we need to do this. So that case manager really is like the, sort of the wheel that keeps it all going.
Even when you're in Bethany Haven or Harbor House, they don't let you just sit around and watch TV all day. They have somebody that works with you there too to get out and do what you need to do.
This was just for tonight, just to, start the conversation so you guys can think about it. And we're not asking for a vote or anything tonight. We just wanted to get the conversation started, and we'll bring it back at a later meeting.
What I'll do is get y'all a good report together, and then I'll talk to Mayor about it, and then we'll see if we can move forward on it. All right?
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
President's report, Rhonda,
I don't have anything.
got any money left to talk about? Brad, you gonna talk about any more thing on the grants?
The only thing I wanted to just hit on is, we met this week with the, State Economic Development Cabinet for the PDI grant out at the industrial park. We are in the process of submitting our second round of paperwork. That was to build the utilities and road out to the lot behind Flyer Foods. So we're still in process with that. Hopefully everything's, going the right direction. So I think we're in pretty good shape, but, we'll know in a few months. So that's all I have on grants right now.
Justin's not here tonight. You got the Jada's report?
I do. Really quickly, we have, let's see, we have 139 currently. We have booked 193. We released 187, 39 state inmates, 100 county. 63 in circuit court, 26 in district court. Recidivism rate is actually down a little bit, 74%. It's been in the 80s past a little bit. Average length of stay is 82 days, 106 for a felony and 40 for misdemeanor. We're overpopulated 36%, 21% on males, 212% on females. We've done 22,291 inmate work hours so far. I'm looking at his notes. We have 23 violent felony offenses, and that's it. That's all I have.
Sean, you got the dispatch report?
Yeah, just real quick, wanted to retouch on some numbers I gave you guys last week. As you can see, the total call numbers for 2023 were 70,637 calls, which of that 46,000 plus that we told you last week were actually calls for service. 65% of those included the emergent and non-emergent calls. You can see the number for emergent calls was just under 18.5 for the year. Non-emergent calls, just over 52,000. And then outgoing calls was almost 15,000 for the year. And then voice over internet, 774. This kind of gives you an idea of, last week he gave you the breakdown of the numbers. This gives you the total calls that come in dispatch. You know, even if it isn't a call where law enforcement has to respond or whatever, but these are still calls that are coming in dispatch every single day. On average, as of late, in a 12-hour shift, we're averaging about 130 calls per shift, with about 65% of those calls. So you're looking at just over 80 or 90 of those calls actually being responders are being sent, whether it's law enforcement, fire, or EMS to those calls. Couple other things. We talk about the national standards in dispatch. All the emergency calls, we got our averages. We averaged under the national standard last year. Every 911 emergent call was answered within 4 seconds of the ring. The national average is 15 seconds, which is really good. For non-emergent calls, we were just at 5 seconds. And the national average for that is about 17 seconds, I'm sorry. So those guys are over there. They're answering those calls pretty fast. Our average dispatch time is up to about 2 minutes. We'd like to see that down to a minute and a half. Some of the issues with that is that some of the dispatchers get a lot more information than what's needed for the initial page out for the call. So we're working to get that down to the national standard of 90 seconds or less. Grants, our grant window opened up on opens up tomorrow, July 17. Sent the judge and deputy judge some things that I would like to maybe apply some grants for. These grants through the Kentucky 911 Services Board, they're 90-10 grant. Basically, we put up the funds, and in the initial, we send in the paperwork. We get 90% of whatever the cost of that grant is back. So if you get a grant that's for $100,000, you have to put up the $100,000, but you get 90,000 of it back. 10,000 is what the actual cost would be for that would come out of our budget for that. And I'm not saying we're looking to get $100,000 on a project, but there are some things that are very costly. One of the things you see on there is the CAD upgrade, whether it's a new CAD or upgrade the CAD that we have now to their newest model. Those things cost around $190,000 brand new. If we do just the basic upgrade, and you're still looking at 90 to 120,000. So if you're going to spend that, I would probably recommend getting the complete newer model of what we have. We've had the current CAD system in now since 2014, so it's 10 years old. We can upgrade that to a new system. I don't have the numbers yet because we got to get some quotes and things like that. But and then if you look down through there, you see some things I'd like to see, some security door upgrades. Our system that we have now is outdated, and Interstate Security will no longer do maintenance on it if it breaks because it's so outdated that they don't have the parts for it. So it can cost us more to get the parts from somewhere else than putting in a new system. And then you see our staffing current numbers. We have 12 full-time, 5 part-time. 2 of our part-timers are available right now. 1 is out on maternity leave and 2 are in training. So it kind of gives you a little bit about what's going on in dispatch.
we'll get this grant, make sure you get with Brad and we stay on top of that. We don't want to miss that opportunity.
There's a lot of money. I will tell you, last year during the grant window, 100% of all PSAPs that applied, which is public safety answering points, which were 100% of those PSAPs that applied for the grant for new CAD equipment last year got them. We did get a grant.
in that?
We did not apply for one last year. The grant that we did apply for was our net clock. It syncs with 57 satellites out in space to make sure that all our times are synced correctly, that it's accurate based on what even NASA uses, so that when we get a timestamp for a call, it's accurate up to the second. We did get that grant. We spent $17,000 on it. Our total cost for the dispatch was $1,700. We're going to be getting back just over $15,000 from that grant that we applied for last year.
And then the budget be coming up for your turnaround, so
Yep.
try to be getting your mind on that. All right, thank you, sir. Anybody got any questions for him? You got a mess report, Michael?
I'll try to get through this. Still recovering from the sickness.
You want me to read it for you?
If you want to.
I'll go ahead.
They had a total 523 completed calls, 121 non-transport, for a total of 644 calls in December, 3,958 for the from July 1 to December 31st. Total monthly charges were 787,000 that we billed for. To year to date was 4,831,967. Total fees collected in December was 210,000. You can see there in the middle of the total gross income year to date was 1.6 million. And the cost per run is 603 with 412 collection per run. The average loaded miles for the month of December was 17.61. The total number of emergency scene responses was 487. Emergency interfacility transfers, 14. From non-emergency scene responses, 54. And non-emergency interfacility transfers from Flagey was 80. And
all those non-emergencies are billable?
All the transports that we can do.
They're all billable?
Yes.
Okay. As you go down to the bottom, you
doesn't
have.
mean we get paid, but they're billable.
Yeah, it's not full pay, right?
There's a lot of loopholes and insurance and everything. To go down at the bottom, lift assist for the month of December was up a little bit, 7. But I think we've got a lot more requests in the last little bit. Did not get numbers from dispatch about the other agencies. Just sick and out and a lot of other stuff going on. The biggest month was 3, but the same period last year was 24. So we're still down from last year. But
Oh, yeah. So
up a little bit.
yeah, that's
From our
good.
normal average.
Keep that in the right direction. Or anybody got questions for Michael? Greg, can you open that door, please?
I got you.
Brad wanted me to mention a little bit about our emergency operations plan. It's in conjunction with EM on weather like we're having right now. We used it for a short period the other day when we started receiving the snow. Hopefully we don't have to use it very much, but it's Operation Snow. It does need some wording changes and everything. When that's implemented, the on-duty shift leader and myself, in conjunction with Brad, will implement that, notify dispatch. And it basically puts us to responding to emergencies only and tries to restrict to take to the closest hospital if if the care that they need is appropriate or can be received there, and then stops the non-emergency transfers for that time period. We try to keep that short as feasible, but when the roads get, impassable.
You do that,
Truly impassable.
you work with dispatch, and then Brad, when y'all coordinate that together.
Yes.
It is.
And the fire departments, I guess, same way.
Yeah.
Y'all coordinate with
We try to limit that as much as we can. It's based on road conditions and the amount of trucks that we have, the amount of accidents that are happening at a single time. It just keeps from sending our trucks all the way out to Louisville, Lexington, especially on non-emergency runs and even on runs if we can take them to Flagey as a triage for a bit until the roads get better and the patient can be stabilized and then transferred on to Louisville. It's just trying to make sure we keep enough resources here in the county when it gets bad, so.
And I think we have like one that we had in transfer, and that was it
Yeah.
during that time frame, so it worked pretty well.
Michael, you finished? Is there any questions for Michael? You got the ambulances all up to par, now we got everything running. It was Monday, we had a couple down, right?
We're back up to six. Six plus 2 that are awaiting, inspection, so.
I think I seen 33 come through, didn't they? Had a headlight out, didn't they?
Yes. Yeah, I did.
Yes.
Needs to be fixed.
Bet you
I set up covers for 3 hours, wait for it.
Thank you, Mike.
EMA and fire, Brad, make it.
Gonna go through this pretty quickly. You should have a paper on your thing, the asset reallocation plan. This is just something that we're trying to do. We have a lot of emergency management resources around the county. They've been primarily stationed here in the city and at EMS, clearly, obviously, because,
Most of them are outdoors.
before, and they were outdoors. We've had some issues. Our command trailer, had a leak in the roof just from sitting outside. They just sat outside. Some of these have been sitting outside for 15 years. So we're trying to move them to facilities where that they will take over the maintenance for us, and put them inside. So, part of this plan, and I'll just go through it real quick. We had one of our flatbed trucks and a hazmat trailer. New Haven was looking for something, a truck that they could get manpower out. They didn't have anything, they didn't have any resources. So we're gonna loan that to them, let them use it. They're gonna be responsible for the upkeep and the maintenance on it. And they agreed to keep that and our 30-foot hazmat trailer inside. So that'll kind of preserve these things, because if they sit outside, they're gonna rot down. We've already had that problem. We had a small John boat, and trailer, with a motor. We, lent that to New Hope Fire Department. They have Melody Lake, in their service area, so they can train in the summer times on doing, water rescues or drowning, anything like that. We had a generator that was sitting outside at the city fire department, so we moved that down to the road department, took the generator off and put it inside, just to keep it, inside. And I'm meeting with the other, fire chiefs to look and see if they have room anywhere. We've still got several other resources, other trailers and things like that we're gonna try to get inside. Number 5, we have an ambulance that we have off our certification sheet. We no longer, it's too old to put in active service, so we had that in reserve, and we were going to use that for the drone truck, to put our drone resources in and send those guys out. One of the things I asked the judge, if we could consider doing this, we'd like to move that to the coroner's office. Coroner, as you know, doesn't have a transport vehicle. We kind of did a Band-Aid last year and been working with Barlow to do the transports. But during Christmas, we had 7 deaths there in about a week and a half. And it kind of highlighted the fact that we didn't have a good transport system for her. So we're going to loan that vehicle to her. We're going to keep it on our sheet, but we're going to loan it to her and let her use that as the coroner's transport vehicle. That way it's no cost to us. It's got almost a new motor in it. We just fixed the air conditioning. It has a cot already, so it's tailor-made for what they're gonna need. It won't be any additional cost. And then, we're gonna take the truck, the emergency management, F-150, Joe's white truck, and then use that for our drone truck. It's smaller, a little more adept to get in and out of some places that we might have to go out to respond to. So we think that that's gonna work pretty good. It's just for information only. I just want to keep you guys up to date on what we're trying to do.
The big thing on this sheet, well, there's a lot of good stuff on here, but number 5 is, employment that's going to satisfy her needs because, it's been,
That's always been the right answer. Why didn't we think of that sooner?
well, that's because I just thought about it.
Solves a lot of problems.
Yes.
The,
We talked about it, and it's gonna help, for everybody with no calls, that's what I like to know. Go ahead, Brad, you want to flip it over?
yes, flip over to the back side. We have, we put the Salt River Tower up, about 10 years ago, somewhere in the neighborhood. We have 2 of our, airplane lights, the red and white lights, the flashing lights that were required by FAA to have. 2 of them are out right now. And if the FAA catches up with us, we're going to get a not so nasty fine, for not having our lights up. So, we had them bid this out to put the LED lights. The old ones are the old actual incandescent lights. The new system is an LED system. It's got a 15-year lifespan approximately. They say they're maintenance free. I mean, I know things could happen, but you don't have to go up and change these. They're pretty much self-sufficient. If one small LED goes out, the whole thing doesn't go out. While we're up there, we're going to go ahead. Every year we're required to climb the tower and tension the guy wires. So we're going to do that all at the same time, just catch that up. The only thing that I've marked out at the bottom, Dean Venzel had put in there a 5-year warranty, but he said he's had these in multiple locations for 3 or 4 years and they've had no maintenance. So I just didn't see the cost of picking up that $1,500. So the cost that I'd like to ask for tonight to get the court to approve would be $98,0250 to put the new lights in.
That's in our budget, Rhonda, maintenance budget.
It's actually a dispatch expense. That tower
Yeah.
is accounted for under the dispatch budget. We have the funds available.
Right, and then we negotiated this, it started out at 12,000.
It did.
I told him I wasn't gonna pay 12,000, so we got it down to 98,0250. So, need a motion to accept that, please.
I'll make the motion.
Motion from Adam,
I'll second that.
second by John. Any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
Get it done for the FAA.
The last thing I have real quickly is, we've had the Civic Center open as a warming shelter since, Saturday at 6. I did want to thank the Sheriff's Office and Barstown Police Department. They have been rotating hourly, going down there and just checking out, making sure everything's there. We have a daily average of about 12 people. 10 of those are Bethany Haven. They're overflow. They're very crowded right now, so they're using that as a little bit of an overflow. And we have a couple that are rotating in and out. It's been very, it's worked fine. I think having them go down and check every hour keeps kind of everything from getting out of hand. So, but again,
So we having somebody do a little janitorial service there between the bathrooms and general.
their normal one that they have is done every day. So we've had no problems, no thefts, we took some extra blankets down there just so that they'd have something to stay warm, lay down if they wanted to for a little while they were warming up. We anticipate we'll probably roll that back up tomorrow, as since the temperature's going to be back up and stay at a fairly decent rate. And we'll look at the future. If it gets back down low again, we'll open it back up. That's all I have. Thank you.
That's following anything on recreation,
No, it's basically closed down for now.
road department.
I'll go over the report real quick. We've been doing some shouldering. And when we shoulder, when it says rock mailboxes, that's something we've always done in the past. We just kind of go out wide and put some rock in it to help those people out. So Ritchie, Quarry, Ballard, Culver, and Cardinal Hill. place a culvert out on Wheeler Road. And of course, the last 2 days, we've been salting and plowing. It's been pretty tough with the cold weather. And I think you guys understand that, as it gets colder, the salt does not work as effective. So everybody's got to be patient and slow down. In 2 days, we used 175 tons of salt.
What percentage is that?
The barn will hold about 2,200 tons. So that tells you about what an event will take. So tomorrow we'll go back over them again. Hopefully Mother Nature's going to help us and the sun comes out and warms up and we just peel it off. I get this question a lot. I emailed everyone today and I'll just hit the highlights. When we make the decision go out, we hit every road, whether it looks like it or not. We get a lot of calls, didn't hit the road. Well, I need to know that, but they're told to hit every single road. Just sometimes it just doesn't work very well.
Well, I personally think you've done a pretty good job, and then I have not had one single call up here, so I think that's a pretty good sign.
I cut those off before they get to you.
Yeah, I'm glad you got it.
Real quick, I gave each magistrate, I know at the last court meeting I wasn't here, but you guys approved scenario for streetlights. Each one of you has gotten your list. And I've requested you to pick 10 out, or I'll pick 10 out for you, and let's work through that. And once we get those 50 done, we'll turn around and do another 50. Judge, I'll bring back the first 50 to you and what that cost is going to be. I'm going to sit down and work with the electric companies so that don't get away from us on the cost. That's probably why it's a better way to ease into that program than just totally jumping into it.
Good, but it's gonna make go around, but you'll know earmarking through the ARPA funds, and that way this will be pretty fair. Some of them may do more than that, depends on the locations, if they can serve them quicker, easier.
Right.
But everybody got their list, and y'all decide, y'all communicate with Brad if you don't mind, and kind of see where you wanna go, and how many you wanna do at one time.
Will you email us the deadline date? You need that information, those requests, those?
Yeah. Hey, that's kind of you.
Well, no, you said you wanted to.
I do.
Okay.
I prefer to work with Salt River this week, but
Okay.
I'll be patient with you.
Update me, what we put on there last week was 180.
180-ish, I'll say ish.
That finishes up, we think.
What do you think? Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Of those 180, about 130 are in Salt River service area. Then the other ones are scattered out through the other electric entities.
I've had quite a few comments about that everybody's pretty thankful about the street lights, so anyway.
Like everything, be patient. It's gonna take a little bit to get that done. Keith, WT Thompson Waterline, it's started. We're probably, what do you think, a third of the way down?
Probably third, yeah.
Weather hasn't been good to us the last couple of days. If I had to guess, it won't be back till next week. Yeah. That's it for the road department, Judge.
I had Brad, I wrote a bunch of stuff, and I think did we email it all to the magistrates? If we didn't, we will, about we're asking the state, begging the state, and Bobby Joe Lewis, which is more blacktop money and bridges. We need to go. Brad put it out, so everybody's got that. I will be meeting with some of these people here soon, here in the next couple of weeks, and trying to push this, and hopefully we get some more state money. John, your report?
We talked about the landfill expansion earlier, solid waste report, it's cold, and it's even colder on the back of the garbage truck on 35 miles an hour. So they've earned their keep this week. We didn't go out Monday due to the rough conditions of the weather, so we're a day behind right now. So we'll probably continue that throughout the week.
You getting calls?
We'll get a few calls.
Yeah, you're a day behind, so you're right.
We're a day behind. We'll check this, supposed to snow again Thursday. We'll just play it later and see how it goes. So guys are doing the best they can with their truck. There might be a few roads that skip because road conditions getting up and down hills. Stuff's frozen in cans. We're trying to dump dumpsters and everything's frozen in there. So just everybody have.
So I called them coming around and I went down and talked to them. They actually, the guys that came on our area this morning, they were in good humor. Seemed to be everything was going great. And I asked them how the roads looked and they were having no problems.
Yeah, I could still drink the coffee.
That's why they were late getting to every place that was talking.
I've helped some dump.
Don't hold that against them.
I called the pool and they're just getting done about 5:45 today, so.
Well, their goal is, let everybody know, is they may not get it the exact time or day, but between now and Saturday, they said they're, you know, like they try to do. Do you need to, get some inmates down there to help you, whatever you need to do?
Okay, one more thing, the garbage truck, their engine went out. The block, when they went to break that down and rebuild, it wasn't any good, so we have to get a new rebuilt engine. So we went ahead and gave them the go-ahead under emergency order to get that moving. It comes with a 2-year, 100,000-mile warranty with that, so that truck's well worth putting money into. We don't have the money to buy 2 new trucks, so it's kind of pretty much what we have to do.
How much
with that.
money are you talking about?
It's 56.
56,000.
What's that report at?
A block.
Hey.
Block.
No, that's the total engine. That's certified. So you can do different levels. We could go down to Joe's
You can do
shop.
that, bottom half.
Hey,
So we,
it had a hole in the block, probably big around your thumb. Can't hear you use that.
Basically buy the
Maybe will.
rebuilt
yeah,
engine, it's gonna have, correct me if I'm wrong, that's what make sure it'll have, it's 2-year warranty.
2-year warranty, 100,000-mile warranty.
And, we're gonna do an emergency order, I'll make sure the court is good with that, so we don't have to be bending out, so they move the process, so I need a motion.
And that's one we had already talked about fixing, right?
We already talked about it.
We already approved about 17 or 18,000.
It was 18, just under 20.
Yeah.
It's one
And
of
that
those.
money hasn't been spent, right? Okay.
It's 50, you got the total number, I wanna get a motion to that.
Yes, the total is 56,832 and 44 cents.
Need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
There's an emergency order. We got one from Keith. Second from MT. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A new truck is about, what, 267 in that range, 270?
Around 270.
So,
Yeah, we could even get one.
it's expensive. All right, anything else, John?
No, sir, that's all I have.
Brad, anything else on the engineers, John? We got street lights on this side. Anything else you got on that?
No, not for this evening.
Brad is working up all the proposed stuff. We talked about the roads and everything last meeting, and some of that has to go back to planning and zoning, some of it doesn't, but I'll get y'all a copy of it after we get it cleaned up. Mr. Lear, where we at on the phone system?
We have to talk to Mr. Megcat here. He's running on it now.
So we've got everything done. Rodney's got everything set up on the billing. We've got all our ducks in a row. We are starting at 4 locations first, which would be the jail, road department, the old courthouse, and the career center. We're going to be the guinea pigs. We're trying to do the small locations first, get all these problems worked out with places that if our phones go off for a little while, it's not going to be the end of the world, and work upwards to like the county clerk and the sheriff there toward the end so that we can make sure we've got everything squared away. But all in all, it'd probably be a couple months or so getting everything. Everybody should be online within a couple months unless we have
She keeps back here saying first.
No, no, not sparing. Do not.
We transfer some dollars. All right, and let everybody know that was, we're gonna get all the people that went there last week, we're gonna get complete new system throughout the county for give or take $23,000 in every department. And our bill will go from $9,300 a month down to $2,300 a month. Give or take a few pennies, so let the media know that again. But that's been an ongoing project for about a year since we started this. County clerk, where's Jeanette? She's not here. I know her mother's in hospital. You know, got the report on, you asked for something.
Yes, a budget amendment.
Yes, there we go. Budget amendment. Y'all get that, everybody?
Yeah.
Do you want me to explain it?
Yeah.
Give a brief.
Yeah, you have to stand up and everything.
As long as it's more than the other one, that's all you gotta say.
Right.
It is.
It is, yeah.
Okay? I'll make a motion to approve.
No, got a motion from Jeff,
Second.
second by Adam, all in favor,
Aye.
opposed, motion carries.
Basically, that mounted because of the way they shut down guys for that, everybody rushed in to do it before
Yes.
you were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had more the last, probably week than we've had in the last. 2
Before,
years.
right before.
And none of them knew about the shutdown.
They knew, that's why they.
They knew, that's why they
rushed in.
I stood in line, I was one of 25.
Yes.
Judge, did you want to have them give an update at least on the new CAVA system?
That's what I was asking about, how's it working, since did you have a bunch of hoops to jump through?
Yeah, it's been slow because it's a new system and we're all learning and there are a few bugs.
Yeah,
But all in all, we're working on it, we're getting things done. Just work out, some few bugs, few things still aren't working, but all in all, it's been going.
What's the deal with taking the picture of your driver's license now? Or-
In Canvas, everybody has basically an account. So the goal of getting your driver's license is every car that you own. Because a lot of people it might be in your wife's name, your name, you might go by your middle name sometimes or a nickname. If you can get all those accounts put together, then basically if you come in and you have nothing and I can pull up your account and then I can see how many vehicles you own. And then you can tell me, oh, I want to renew all 4 of them. Or I just want to renew this one and this one, but this one I just want to pay the taxes on. So that's what the driver's license is. It's kind of everybody is going to have an account.
It's building a customer profile,
Right.
so.
Right.
I already got it. I already got a picture of it.
I got new ones, I'm sure they got it.
Yeah.
looking good, since you mentioned driver's license, Senator Higdon and got a bill that he's trying, we're trying to get a license, trying to get more aggressive on getting the license here in Nelson County, so. That'll be an ongoing battle this next couple of months, if we get that done too. Everything good, else, what y'all do, anything else?
That's it.
You don't need any money, that's what I like.
Maybe next meeting.
Sheriff Raymond, you you got a report?
No report, Judge.
Since Raymond, since I'm on his part here, we're gonna talk about these, 2 vehicles, and I don't have that email. Everybody, I sent an email.
Right here.
Huh?
Okay.
Let's see, one.
Yeah.
Oh, you. So we had I talked to Rod about this, Raymond about this, is basically, we discussed this briefly, there's 2 vehicles, it takes about a year to get them in most cases, every now and then they get lucky and they get some in early, and Conway Eaton ordered 4, and they happen to get 4 quickly. You see in my email, if we go ahead and buy them out, it'll probably save us between $12,000 to $15,000 total. It'll be another year, that's about the increase they anticipate that it will be. Like email last year, when we gave the sheriff raises and we didn't buy any vehicles and his budget or our budget last year, and that's what we all agreed to, Raymond agreed to it. This is kind of a mid-year budget, so what I'm asking the court to do is go ahead and buy these vehicles for next year's budget, basically prepaying for next year's budget. The money will have to come out of our general fund, and then as we get the transfers or whatever, that we can always internally transfer money. So that's what I'm asking the court to do.
I think it's a good idea because, 2 in the hand's worth 4 in the bush. And, if we put this off and wait, we don't know what the circumstances will be if we run into a problem like we had.
The only question I got is when it comes out of the reserves or general fund, and I don't think it makes any difference, just accounting thing, so I don't know. Ron, what do you think? Does it matter to you at all?
It's not gonna.
It's all coming out of general fund. It doesn't really matter if it's considered
Just which one you
discussion
transfer
from reserves, or if we wait and do a budget amendment
All right.
to bring some new funds into the general fund to pay for it.
And this is depending on not purchasing till more next year, is that correct?
That's correct.
That means no car from July budget. This is part of the July budget.
this
From our
week.
side.
Yes. Pre-planned, we're pre-buying them for July's budget. We're about 4 or 5 months ahead.
Had a savings of approximately $30,000.
I'll make a motion.
No, it'll be about 12, about 6
Per
or 7
vehicle.
thousand.
No, 12,000 for both.
Yeah,
For both.
we don't know what kind of rating, but yeah, that's what they're anticipating.
So he,
I make a motion that we approve the purchase of these vehicles.
and I'll second.
Motion from Jeff, second by Adam, any more discussion?
Yeah, but we're gonna keep our honor, our word with what we said.
Yeah, we're not gonna put 2 more, you wanna put 2 more in July, you saying?
No.
That's what I'm saying, that's the way I would agree to it, yes.
I mean, that,
And I agree, that's the best thing.
Approving next year, so.
Yeah.
So they're gonna drive these vehicles longer, right? Is that what you're thinking?
What do you mean?
Well, if we intended, our intention was to purchase vehicles in the July budget for next year, right? If we're buying these vehicles today, and say you're averaging 100,000 miles a year, and you're getting them 6 months early or better, are you gonna drive these vehicles, or in 2.5 years, you're gonna be hitting us for another 2 vehicles because they went, over miles?
Usually every year you guys buy 2 vehicles.
Every year?
Every year you buy 2 vehicles, sir.
Okay, so we haven't surplus any vehicles for how long?
Oh, we have.
When?
We just haven't sold them. We're using them internally.
Y'all sold some, a couple of years ago, you did some.
About 2 years ago.
The surplus, but we've moved them around to other departments.
Yeah, but
So Michael's driving one of them, planning and zoning,
Justin.
Justin is driving 2. Let's see, PBA, I mean, we can go on and on.
Yeah, we try to.
If we normally buy 2, that answers my question.
Yeah.
We won't be needing 2 vehicles next year.
The reason is this, gentlemen. These 4 vehicles that were ordered 2 years ago, and they're just now coming in. The mayor didn't even know when they were coming in. They came in early, and we're in the situation, we buy them. And I told John, it's up to the fiscal court to do it or not. It's up to you all.
Well, I mean, do you need them or you don't need them?
We always need them.
Well, I mean, everybody
Do
needs
you
them.
want
I
us
mean,
to-
everybody here probably wants a new vehicle. But
And that's fine, but do you wanna pay the maintenance that we're paying now? We're gonna go over budget on just maintenance that has not been raised in years. Because a brake job is over $1,000.
There's a difference between the want and need. It's not a want.
Well, they had,
Maintenance is tough.
they had 2, 3 got shot up last year, then of course you had a deer in one, and that's just part of, that's just part of the job, as far as I'm concerned. I got a motion from, I forget who.
Motion second.
Motion second. Any more discussion? And we're not buying any more.
Judge, I got one thing, you have to add the equipment that goes in those vehicles as well, so just want to be upfront on what your decision is gonna be.
Yeah, you gotta decal them and
Correct.
radios and computers.
Cages and all of
Probably 10
that.
to 12 more per vehicle.
Right.
But the different now.
We would have been doing that on the next few meetings.
I would say that was part of my motion, or amendment.
Let's amend it if you don't mind.
I'll amend the motion to include the outfitting package.
Yeah. And
I'm good, thanks.
second by it, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Raymond. And Raymond also, he'll be turning over some, extra money for his fees. Probably that, can you do that at the next meeting probably?
Probably.
Yeah, and that way we'll get that, and that way he's gonna turn over quite a bit of money, and that'll help our budget anyway, so technically it'll come out of that, and that will supply the money that we need to buy those cars, so. Coroner Danielle is not here, I don't think, is she?
No, sir, I got a real brief thing here. Let me look. She said she's waiting on 2 autopsy reports from December, and she will send a report out to everyone and just check on your elderly family members and take care of your pets. That was her message.
County Attorney's report, Chip.
The only thing I have is the second reading of the parking ordinance that you all considered the last meeting. My understanding, there's been no changes to this ordinance since you all adopted it at the first call last meeting. It creates the parking board that would hear and adjudicate any appeals on impounds that are done. Uh, Otherwise, I think that's a major change to the ordinance.
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance on second reading.
I got a motion from Jeff,
Second.
second by John. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
So I have this.
Thank you, Chip. Magistrate, reports. John, don't get into that one subject till we get to the.
Oh, I'm gonna. I just wanna say how much I appreciate the shelter and the animal control. It's been a long process. I'm not gonna say anything about anything else. I just wanna acknowledge the fact that they've been great and it's been a difficult, situation. We're still in the process of handling it, so I don't know what we're doing third year. I commend them on their job.
Jeff? MT. Adam?
Again, on the road crews and the garbage guys, appreciate the effort. I know it's brutal out there, and guys I stopped and talked to this morning, they were in good spirits, and as far as I know, everything went great.
Keith?
None, no report.
Go back to that, I'm gonna finish John's, report about Red, the dog in Bloomfield.
Said you wasn't gonna say it.
What you say? I want the public to know it.
Just wanted the credit.
No, I say no credit. I don't want no feathers in my hat, but we've made an agreement and, it makes it difficult. But you see all these, be careful what I say, social media about everything, and the dog has been part of Bloomfield's community for years, and I get it, and back and forth, but our animal control officer has a job to do too. Safety wise, going across the roads, causing wrecks and so on. And, it's a lot more to it than just say, I want the dog. I personally talked to a lady 2 weeks ago and had that dog released to a lady. And they raised the money and paid for the fees and adoption fees and all that. I told them we can't do nothing for free. Dog food's not free, taxpayers paying for it, so they agreed to it and they took it in. We got out the next day, got out the same day. And then it became a hell of a mess after that. Going across Bluegrass Parkway. It's pretty good ways, Bluegrass Parkway.
All the way, all the way to 245.
And anyway, so it became pretty complicated.
40 miles.
Todd, I'm gonna say this, I talked to Todd and, they've done a good job dealing with it. They gotta deal with a lot of stuff out there people don't realize. So John, and Todd is our animal control officer, and myself have agreed. There's a lady in Bloomfield that we're gonna let this dog go back to again, a different lady, and they've got to keep it inside and so on and so on. And, but if that dog gets out again, it's gotta go to a sanctuary, because it's an old dog, yeah. That's what I'm telling everybody publicly, so they will know. You want to make sure you put it on your.
I'll take care. I'll put it on.
All right, that's good. Everybody's asking about the dog. I bet I ain't kidding. You gonna be kidding.
I
got more calls about, Red than I had about anything else.
And Judge, just to drive home the point of talking about dogs and having wrecks and things like that, and the sheriff can back me up on this, but I guess it was a week or two ago, we had two fairly major wrecks on the Bluegrass Parkway within about an hour of each other. And one of those was caused by a dog running across in front of them and they ran out into the median. And it was.
I think it happened yesterday.
Yeah, it wasn't quite big on that.
Was it? Yeah.
That's it to her, please. The other thing, I've got to, I probably failed to put this in there, but the, Development Review Board, you got it? JD Riggs has agreed to, I talked to the mayor, it's a joint appointment. City council's already approved it, and I need a motion to appoint JD Riggs to the Development Review Board for 3 years.
I'll make that motion.
Keith Metcalf, motion.
Second.
Second by MT. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. we've already started the process of, internet and water. Since we approved all that last month, the last, meeting, and Brad's met with several people on the water, so we've actually, gonna try to fast track this thing because some of these individuals are building new homes and need the water faster, and it's been, I've had quite a bit of feedback, and I have had a few calls about that, thanks me, and emails about getting internet and so on, so we'll get support me and all that. That's all I have. Anybody else in the open new business? Motion to adjourn. Motion to MT.
Second.
Second by Adam, all in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.